So hello guys, I hope कि आप लोग का एग्जाम अच्छा गया था. So now let's get into the discussion of physics paper. The first question is quite simple. You have been given an equation of the trajectory और आपको अब निकालना है कि maximum height of this trajectory कैसा है. So from the basic mathematics that you will have learned, आपको पता है for maximum height you have to do f dash x equal to 0 and then you have to show if f double dash x is greater than 0. So if you see on solving f dash x equal to 0, you get x equal to 10, and then if you do f double dash of x, then you will get minus 1 by 10. And thus, what is happening? You will so at x equal to 10, you will have your y max, which is equal to 5 meters. Okay. Now comes the second question. Now the second question is the two coordinates x and y have been given as a function of t, that is f of t. So now what you can do is let's directly go into the solution. Now if you see very carefully, that is if you do dx dt, you will get vx, which is equal to 4. That is, and if you do d2v dx2, so d2v d2x dt2, you will get a acceleration which is equal to 0. Thus it has constant velocity, 0 acceleration. You have the vx, x component of the velocity, and the velocity of the y component has 3 plus 16 and the acceleration is 16 meters per second, which is an uniform accelerated motion. Thus we get. And also from this very concept of velocity itself, you can see that this follows the motion of a parabolic path. Also, in the other approach, you can eliminate t from both x and y, and then form an equation of x in terms of y or y in terms of x, and you get this, thus which is a quadratic equation of x, thus getting a solution of something y equal to some x squared, thus it shows that it's a parabolic path. Thus the answer will be A. I think I didn't do the answer of the earlier one. It's 5 meters. Okay. And now comes the third question. The third question is also very simple. So the bob is hanging, and when the car is moving in a circle, the bob tilts, shifts to some angle theta, and the theta is given as the vertical angle. So now if you see the your if you see your diagram, you will see that the bob is hanging from this direction. Thus, there is a tension that's working upward, which you can also take it as a pseudo force tension down to this part. You can also try and take it down to this part for the simplicity of understanding, but it's okay अगर आपने नहीं भी लिया है. So basically this is your mg, which is your t cos theta. Okay, और यहाँ पे आपका t sin theta is equal to mg square by r, जो आपका होगा centrifugal acceleration. In this case, centrifugal acceleration. So from there, you can get tan theta by dividing the two equations, and theta will be parallel. So the answer is I right. Now moving on to the fourth question. अब fourth question में भी कुछ ज़्यादा खास नहीं है. It's basically you need to solve the equations very correctly. So now getting into this is very easy. Now let's see one thing. See, जब भी आपने इसको कर दिया है, so basically there's a pulley. See the same thing. There's the same string all over the pulley. So आप अगर इसमें FPD बना दे, so you'll get T downwards and M2G downwards, T upwards and M2G downwards, and M1G downward and T upward. And thus the entire acceleration of the system is A, which is given to be as G by 8. And then on solving, this will be your first equation for block 1, and this will be your second equation for block 2, considering the acceleration to be downwards, which is given as G by 8. Thus, on considering this, you will get M1 by M2 to be as something, and thus on M1 by M2, on solving the equation, you will get it as -7. It's a simple question जहाँ पे आपको बस NLM का basic equation लिखना है, लिखने के बाद उसको solve करना है, let's see to get your answer. Now comes this question. ये भी काफी important question है. Just to remind, this F1 that you are using always uses as to be an external force that is acting on the particle. Okay, and this F2 is another force F2 which is working downwards. These two both are external forces. That's all. I probably didn't know the answer. Yeah, so it's -7. Okay, and the answer of this would be 5/3. Now coming to the solution, if you see, so this is the block. If the block is falling, then you will have your mg cos theta, which is your normal reaction, and this will be your mg sin theta, which works down the slope. So when F1 is being used, remember that the value of F1 will be equal to F1 minus mg sin theta 30 minus mu mg cos theta. That means 30 would be equal to 0, because in the question it was given that it should just take the block onwards. So on solving, this will be your F1, and similarly on F2 is someone that's downward. So in case of F2, this will become plus, F2 this will become plus, and this will remain minus. Okay. So in case of F1, it would be F1 minus mg sin 30 minus this. Okay. Now on doing the minus, you will get the value as of 2 mu cos 30. So which is equal to 5. Okay, so that is the answer. Okay, now this is a very simple question. Now, if you see F1 and F2 are the two forces acting on a body, that means the resultant force of the answer will be C to mark it with. So now, if you see the resultant force will be the addition of the two vectors, which is very simple, and then acceleration is equal to force by mass, which is this is the answer. Now, this is again a question of pulleys and system. Pulley system is a very important concept for JEE and any other competitive exam. So again, if you draw the free body diagram, okay, to start with, the answer is B, that is G by 3, to show. So basically, this is your mg sine theta, and this is the t that's working upward. Okay, now why is this 2t? People should ask. So I'm just drawing it for the proper clarification. Due to this t, a t will be generated over here. Due to this t, an upward t will be generated over here. Due to this upward t, there will be the same tension will work over here, and so will the tension work over here. Thus, what is balancing the 4 kg? I mean, not balancing in this case. What is the free body net free body diagram if you do? So a 2t force is acting upward, and a 4g is acting downwards. Okay, and since considering the net acceleration to be 4a downwards, that's why for t over here they have taken, you could have actually taken it as in terms of g only, because you will find it out as g itself. So this should be 10, this should be g, because this is half into 2g sine theta, which is g. So in that way, if you solve, we will get this as to be g by 3. Okay, if you solve this, you will get it as g by 3. Okay, now coming back to this question. Now this question's first let me mark the answer is 3. It's again a very simple question. In this question, you have to do nothing. Your mass is given, your velocity vector is given. Thus, you just need to find your acceleration vector, which is dv by dt and nothing else. On doing that, it was given at t equal to 1 second. You just put the value of t over here. You get your acceleration. On getting the acceleration, you multiply it with the mass, which is your I cap into 3j cap. Now you compare it with the given I cap plus xj cap. Thus, on comparing, you will get x equal to. Now going on to the next question. Now this is a good question. Actually, not really a good question. You just need to have some sort of a concept. So the first, the answer will be C, that is pi by 2. Now this is actually very simple. Now if you do, what you need to do is that if you do f equal to dp by dt, okay, when you're doing f equal to dp by dt, this is actually not a is not the, I mean this a would be nothing but in case of you just the kth term. Okay, just the kth constant. There's only one constant. Okay, so I think so it will be basically, you can take a as 1. Okay, a will be equal to 1. Okay, in this case. So when you're doing f equal to dp by dt, you will get what? Your force vector. Now to find the angle, you can do cross product or dot product, but dot product would be easier. Therefore, you know f dot p is equal to mod f mod p cos of theta. Theta is the angle between the two. Thus, on getting theta, the thing that you will get is that the angle between them is 90 degree. How? Mod of f, if you do mod of f, you will get nothing but k square. Okay. If you do mod of p, you will get 1. Okay. Now, if you do f dot p, you will get minus k sine kt cos kt plus k sine kt cot kt. Thus, this is equal to 0. Thus, cos theta is equal to 90. Okay, now coming to this question. Now, this is another important question. So, basically, what you have to do is nothing much, to be very honest. So, the answer is both the statement 1 and 2 are true. Okay. So, over here, there's nothing. So, your A vector is given, B vector is given. You can find out your resultant vector as well, which is also given. So, from there, nothing much you have to do. All that you have to do is find out the theta. See if you have seen the question. Okay, theta 1 and theta 2. Okay. Theta 1 and theta 2 is given, and your force resultant P and Q is given at an angle theta 1. The P and Q resultants are given at 2 cases. Okay, but theta 2 is greater than theta 1, if you can see. So just need to find the theta from the resultant value that is given and from the vector value that you can find. So on solving these two equations, which you can see very easily, you can find the value of theta, which will be your theta 1, and this is your theta 2. Thus, you get your answer as both the statements are correct. Okay, now this is a good question. This is a very advanced question. So for this, we need some conceptual clarity. Now, what conceptual clarity do we need? First is to understand one thing, that when your velocity vector is given as alpha times whatever it is, this is x cap is basically I cap and y cap is basically j cap. So y, so vy is nothing but actually alpha times y. This is your vy. Okay, and vx is nothing but it is 2 times alpha x. So this is this is your yx, and this is your Vy. Okay, I just missed the terms. So this is your Vx and this is your Vy. Okay, now when you are doing force, now what is force? Now if you know your velocity and your mass is given, so it's basically mass into acceleration. Now, but how will you find the acceleration? That is important. Now if you see on doing mass m in dv dt, now what will you do is you do dy dt. So this will be dy dt x cap and dx dt y cap. So what is dy dt? Dy dt is nothing but our Vy, and what is dx dt? It is dx. So from the very solution, from the very concept of, as I told you, this is your Vx and this is your Vy. So on doing dy dt, basically you get your Vy and Vx. Now on just replacement of the values over here, you will find 2m alpha square x I cap and y. Okay, which is your option A. Okay, so now if you see this question, you see in this question, if you see that this is a match the column. So for what theta and for what value of the dynamic friction will this block not stick? So if you see the solution is very simple. You just need to understand that the friction has to be greater than the downward force, which is as clearly mentioned over here. Thus, on solving these things, you will get the values from solving the equation which is clearly mentioned, because you have to, this is the condition for your sitting where your frictional value should be greater than the rest are the normal calculations. Okay. Going on to the next question. Now, this is another important question, and this is a good question. In this case, all that you have to do is nothing but balancing of torque. You have to make sure whether normal force works, which is the center of gravity, this is which is at x by 2 and L by 2. From there, you have to do nothing, but you have to balance torque on both sides. If you see, your vertical equilibrium is the net force on the equilibrium should be static, which is at 1.6 G as given in the data. And now on balancing of torque on both sides, you will get your L and your required H. So this is your answer. So D is your answer. Okay, not this. Sorry, I messed up with the solutions. So this is your answer. This is the value of your friction, and this is the value of your H is to L. Now, this is another important and an easy question actually. So basically, the rate of change of kinetic energy is given, and then from you have to understand. So the answers are A, B, and D. Okay. So what is happening is very simple. If you have dkd equal to lambda times t, so basically your half mv square, so dkd will be nothing but mv dv. Okay, mass into mva. Okay, and that's your dkdt. Now on integrating both sides, you will get your half mv square as yt square by 2. Okay, you could have also done it in a certain way. Even all if all these things were actually not needed, you could have directly from here got, if you would have integrated. So from 0, your entire kinetic energy from 0 to k dk would have been your gamma t square by 2. So basically your k would have been gamma t square by 2 directly from integrating both the equations that is shown. Okay, and from there what you get, your k is basically half mv square. Thus on solution you will find that your acceleration is constant and your v is proportional with t. Okay, and your acceleration is constant, and thus even force is constant. Thus from here we get the force is constant, the speed is proportional to time, and the force is constant and conservative. If you see that the distance of the particle from the origin increases linearly with time, is wrong, because if you see this ds dt, okay, so this will come certain constant c t square by 2 will be your s. If v is written as to be as ds dt, and then you integrate both sides, you will get ct square by 2. So it's in a parabolic motion and it is not in a linear motion. Okay, now this is another easy, and this is a very easy question. Okay, this is the equation is also absolutely simple. Okay, all you need to do is again differentiate and get your answer. So that's how you differentiate, and this normal your stuff and the answer. So theta is equal to 45 and x equal to, so this and this is the answer. Okay. Again, this is technically a similar question, the solution of which you saw earlier. So the answer is 90 degree. So I don't think so we need to discuss this again. Okay. Now this is a very good question. This is a question of relative motion of projectiles. So if you see, this is spread with one v naught, then this is the other v naught, this other theta, and this is the other theta. So from here, what you need to do is that you have to see that the path, if you are an external observer, okay, the path that you would see is that they follow a straight line until they collide at a certain point. So to me, first you have to be that the range of these two should be equal, which is your, these are not your range, so your vertical velocity has to be equal. And then the delta t, the difference in time, is nothing but the, since we are taking relative velocity. Okay, now you have to understand relative velocity. Now relative acceleration is 0 because Vx cos, that is the x component of V0 and the x component of this V0 will be the same. So from there, but so your entire del t, that is the time difference, should be L by your net velocity, since it is seen to be in a straight line in the same direction. So the net velocity is added. That is your horizontal velocity is added. Now, there are two cases that you have taken as mentioned in the problem. So that is what the first T1 you get, and this is the next T2 you get, and then on solving you get T equal to 2. So the answer of this is nothing but 2. Now, this is a very simple question again. So the answer I'm writing over here, it's C. So nothing really, you just need to find the resultant, as simple as that, and you know what is the value of 1 plus cos theta, that is 2 cos square theta by 2. Okay. And you should also know that this can be, because it's in the form of cos square theta by 2, and thus this is very simple. Now this is again another simple radius of curvature of the two particles whose mass is this. So this is mv square by r. Simple as that. This is root 3 by 2. Okay. Now this is another simple question. Basically, your theta between them is given. Okay. So you can always find a dot b by ab, and also your this value was given. So on squaring, you will get this. From there, you will get your value of a dot b. On simplifying, you will get ab, and then this is given n times of b. So on solution of this equation. So this is basically you need to solve the equation and do the vector calculus. So the value of n is equal to 3. See, for a equal to nb. Okay, this is all. Everything is given in the question. Okay, now this is a good question that you need to understand. So for the value of x, we need to understand that the value of x is nothing but 5 by 2 meters. That is 2.5 meters. Okay, the value of x is 2.5 meters. In this case, that you have to understand that just before splitting, what is the velocity, and after splitting, what is the velocity, and from there, what we need to do is to apply conservation of momentum. The time that is given, that is 0.5 seconds to fall down. So the distance of this particle would be nothing but the difference between these two, that is r by 2 as given, and r is your range, and your range that was earlier calculated was 5 meters. For that's the answer is 5 by 2. That's simple. Okay, now this is another very simple question. Okay, I'll tell you the answer before everything. That is 22 meters. Okay, 2 kg is thrown up, and then someone applies a force and it falls down to 2 meters. So you get your first initial u, then you apply u square equal to v square plus 2as, that is now u square equal to 2as. Then from here you get the value of force because it is g, that is it falling down, and this a is the amount of acceleration of the force that was applied so that the ball falls down by 2 meters. So F is equal to 20 meters. And this is again absolutely easy. Okay, this is collision. Okay, impulse, you should know that impulse is equal to force into time. That is just the change in momentum. So on doing change in momentum, you will find the new v dash. That's it. This is 46 meters per second. Okay, now this is also quite easy. Just you have to apply conservation of momentum in the vertical and in the vertical and in your x-axis. See, so basically your mu sine theta would be nothing but the vertical direction, and this will be your mv. This is your mv, and this is your mu. Okay, this is your mu, or actually not. This is your mu sine theta, or mu is along this, and this is a theta. So mv is nothing but mv m cos theta. Okay, and then on solving the equation of del p, you will find the change in momentum, and by time you will find the force, which is 375 Newton. Okay. This is a very simple question that you have to only remember that your dmdt in this case is 0.1. That is, this is a variable mass system. Okay. So over here, your acceleration would be in terms of v dmdt and not dvdt, because the velocity is same, but the mass is changing. Okay. So thus, on putting the equation, this is the value that you will get. Ma equal to, because if a rocket is going, so this will be your force. Okay. That basically this will be your mg, and on the basis of the thrust of the force, you will get an upward force, which is equal to v into dmdt. Okay. And the answer is 1 meter per second square. So with that, we come to an end of the solution. I hope you all have had a good time understanding the solutions. If any more clarification is required, you can anyways reach us on the YouTube, YouTube comments, and also can mail us in the email ID that has been provided in the description of the question paper video as well as the solution videos. And make sure that we can help you to our best. Soon the solution videos of mathematics and chemistry would follow. So guys, stay tuned with us. Okay, thank you, and please do like, share, and subscribe our channel. and be on the platform so as to get all the updates and the question papers for your betterment. So thank you. We'll meet you next week afterwards.